Guys, welcome to episode 3 of how to make a turn-based RPG with PRpject Spark. As always, I encourage not writing unnecessary amounts of code, and we definitely broke that rule last time because we created an attack function both in the AI and the player turn when the attack function basically works the same. So what we're going to do, we're going to copy this attack page and we're going to throw it into a new logic cube, and this logic cube will be placed in the middle because it is not partial to the player or the AI, and we're going to rename it attack. We'll just call it attack function, and we are going to paste that into here. We don't need this because we already know attacking is true, and we're going to know who the enemy is based on what the individual character is. And we're going to pop this brain. Instead of switching to page end turn, we're going to pop this brain because there aren't other pages on here. So we're just going to say when basically we've attacked and we've returned to our spot, we're going to pop this brain. So at this point, this brain has not been added. Let's go ahead and make it a template. At this point, this brain has not been added by either the player or the AI. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell it when to add that brain. Because we've already put all three of these into that brain, all we need to do is, instead of having those three parent lines here, we just need to push brain, objects, in world picker, attack function. So if we do this in both of these brains here, both of these logic cubes, let me walk through what is going to happen. When the page entered, it's going to say who this player's enemy is, and that attacking becomes true, so it knows to do something in this other brain. Push brain, attack function, attack function. When this comes here, if this brain is ever added to an object, we're going to know attacking is true because it's written just the line before it, which is probably one monotonous line of code, but it's okay. We're going to leave it there for later purposes. Attacking equals true. All of this is going to happen. We went through that the last video, but now when it comes to this line, it's going to pop the brain. It's going to go out of that brain back into here. We learned what push and pop brain did last time. If you don't know, feel free to watch the previous video, and it is going to do that. So what we've just done was eliminated writing extra lines of code. Let us test it and see what happens. We get here. We shoot a fireball. We have this clunky camera still. Let's see if he attacks us. Boom. He walks back to his spot. We are going to test the player's attack now. Boom. He walks back to his spot. And there we have it. Let's go ahead and get rid of a couple things here. I don't like that we aren't using some sort of a random number generator for attacking. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say, I mean, the random number system isn't the best, but we are going to say that when it becomes the AI's turn, we're going to do once, whoops, I didn't want to do that. I just deleted that arrow. Once. And we're going to make a new variable called option. And we are going to say equals a random number between 1 and 2, and it is going to be an integer. And when option is equal to 1, we're going to attack. When option is equal to 2, we are going to shoot. That's a very simple line of code. We're not going to test it right now because I feel like it's going to accomplish exactly what we need. We are going to remove this follow camera from the player. We're also going to get rid of the health display meter. We don't need that right now. We're going to add a camera gizmo. And we're going to turn it That's funky. I don't know how that happened. And we're going to elevate it a little bit. Why do I keep doing that? I'm silly. We're going to turn off snap to grid. And we're going to add this. Oh, what happened to my camera? First person camera. Oh, it has that one. That first person camera. And let's turn it down just a wee bit, and we'll pull it back. Let's test this out. I'm just gonna shoot because it's faster. It's now the goblin's turn. He attacks us and returns to his position. And let's do this. Let's go ahead and create, I guess we're going to create a new battlefield. And we're going to make this, not a new battlefield, I'm sorry. We're going to create a battlefield center. Battlefield center. So this is the center of the battlefield. This is going to be player position 1, and this is going to be enemy position 1. So what we need to do is we need to figure out how the player knows which spot is going to be their spot, because what's going to happen is we are actually going to have multiple spots, okay? So this will be like so. This will be position 2, enemy position 2, enemy position 3, player position 3, player position 2. All right. Now, there are going to be some really, really easy ways to do this, and I think the easy way is kind of a lazy way. I don't always want to use the word lazy because sometimes people just don't know that there's a better way to do it, and a lot of times I don't. Like if there are people that are better at programming out there than I am, which probably are, they're probably watching some of what I'm doing and they're like, oh, he talks about not doing things the lazy way, but he's doing them the lazy way. Yes, it's a lot of it is just that I'm ignorant. I don't know a whole lot, but I do try to write the best line of code with what I know to do. So we have the player here, player position 1. So it already is pointing to that. But what if I wanted this character to, what if I had another character, okay? And now this character, I want his position to be position 2. But I don't want to have to do in-world picker, because what if later on I unlock another character? Or what if I have this character here who, let's say he wants to have position 2. Okay, so how am I going to tell him that his position is actually position 3? How am I going to do that? I want to create a system where you can choose what spot all your characters. I mean, that's pretty common in a turn-based RPG, but I feel like it's an important thing to figure out, an important thing to write. So let's do this. For now, we'll just have this in-world picker. You select that, right? But I want to say our position is, let's say, position. You know, we're going to keep using the word spot. Spot equals 1, okay? So this guy's spot equals 1. This guy's spot equals 2. Later on, the player, again, in-game will be able to customize who is in what spot. That could benefit them in some way. Maybe something like you buff the characters that are next to you. So this character will only buff this character will only buff this character. So you want this character to be in the middle because both of these characters will get buffed, right? So, or you protect the player to your left or to your right or something. So you're going to create reason for this, right? So right now it's just position 1, position 2, position 3. In here, in these, let's go ahead and create spot equals 1. Now in this, we're going to say spot equals 2. Spot equals 3. So what we have now is these characters want to relate to whatever other object has the same spot as them. So let's do this. Let's do when we enter combat, we're going to turn off this snap to grid because it's driving me crazy. So when we enter combat, this is going to happen. Constantly. We want this to be running constantly. For each of... I don't know, do we? Let's create a boolean called has spot. Has spot equals false. Because we don't want this for each of loop to run constantly. I want to write a for each of loop, but I only want it to run one time. So has spot, when has spot equals false, for each of when team equals 1, I'm trying to think the best way to do this. Let's do it this way. Let's do object in world picker, battlefield center. We're going to create a new object set, and we're going to say player spots incremented by me. Alright, so we're going to have this battlefield. It's going to have this thing called player spots. It's going to, and this battlefield center is going to do this for each of for each of, we'll do it this way for now. There's going to be a better way to write it later, but we're going to get the basis of it down. For each of team 1, it spot no, we're just going to get the numeric variable. It's spot. So we're going to, so inside of the for each of one, we're going to say its spot equals a new variable called player spot. Whoops. Its spot equals player spot. Okay, for each of team 1, its spot or player spot equals its spot. Okay. Now, when for each of, remember we created this object set called player spots? Remember that? For each of, inside of this for each of loop. So let's say it's player 1, the first spot. So we're going to say player spot equals its spot. Then inside of that, we're going to run a loop for each of our player spots. Let's say its spot equals to player spot. Then let's do this. We'll say player to position equals it. So the player to position equals it. player to position my spot equals, or it equals player to positions. No, we have to do it this way. Whoops. Yeah, player to position my spot equals it. So it is the most previous thing mentioned on the side. So we can actually do this just to help us see it visually. As we define this up here, we'll go position to assign. So the position to assign, so when position to assign spot equals player spot. Oh, whoops. Player spot equals player position spot. So when when player to assign, or let's see, position to assign let me think about this. I'm like going crazy here. So when player to position equals it, player spot equals player to position spot. When so position to assign equals it. When player position to assign spot equals player spot, position to assign equals, or let's see, player to position my spot equals position to assign. I hope that makes sense. Let's do this, called spot. This is the spot. This is the actual spot. And this is the player that we're looking for. So player looking for spot. So this player is looking for its spot. So player spot equals whatever that player's spot is, okay? So this just gives us a number to work with. Spot equals it. So we now have a spot. So when the spot's spot is equal to the player's spot, the player looking for the spot's spot is spot. I know that's a little crazy, but we're going to go ahead and see if this works. And the way we're going to do it is this. We're going to get rid of this line of code here. Okay, this is going to be a little scary because we may mess up. Oh, we may break everything, okay? We may just break everything. But we're going to try it anyway. So what we want to see is they are not assigned a spot in their own brain. They would be assigned a spot from here. So it's going to detect who team 1 is. And it didn't do it. So what we need to do is team 1 objects. Let's try that. Team 1 team objects, maybe? Okay, cool. So they all ran to their designated positions, right? But let's do this now. Let's mess them up. Let's make this one spot 1. Let's make this one spot 2. And let's make this one spot number 3. So this guy's going to run here, this guy's going to run here, and this guy's going to go over here. Let's try it out. Boom! It worked. Okay, so we are in the zone. Oh, so both those guys went at the same time. So that's something that we're going to have to work on. One of those situations where 2 players will be active at the exact same time. And now each character will have different speed, and that we may never run into that in game, but just in case we do, we want to eliminate that. So let's see. We now have that taken care of. But what I want to do, I want to get rid of this team 1 team objects thing. I mean, let me think. player spots. Okay, when team equals team 1, team 1, when team equals team 2. So when team equals team 1, we're going to say players incremented by me. No. Enemies. We're going to make a new object set called enemies. Battlefield center players, battlefield center enemies, okay? So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this to for each of players. For each of players, let's go ahead and test it, see if it works. Yay, it worked. So we now have a turn-based combat system where the players are assigned positions. These guys both go at the same time. We'll want to fix that. We'll want to work on a few things. Basically what's happening is, I mean, they're both doing the same thing at the exact same time, and you see that they get a little bit off just because of the way that everything works. So we have a few easy ways to fix that, and it'll be fun to do. Anyway, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to find a way to create monsters, maybe even random monsters, and get them assigned positions. So thanks for checking out episode 3 of how to make a turn-based RPG, and we will see you next time.